I mean, they did get a slight buff, but it seems like there was like a big meta shift. I've been away for a couple of days, but before I left, it just seems like cleaves have been on the rise, and because of that, feral druids as well as moonkins, and with like a mage and a paladin, just deal with that so well with the spammable cyclone and the spammable polymorph.
Really, it's true.
It's kind of cool that they've been, yeah.
Here
It's
we
like
go,
a
man.
change in the meta brings them back.
I love changes in the meta. It keeps things fresh, keeps things interesting, but we do see Balance enter the fray with Jeff and Kappa running that Windwalker, DK, Holy Paladin composition, going up against Mageddon and Esper Floria, sticking to the root, sticking to that Mage Boomkin, and with all that cross CC, it's gonna be an uphill battle, to say the least, for Donut.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, looking at Balance's spec, it looks like he is playing healing elixirs right now, so he's not going to be running that diffuse magic and have a little bit more self-healing. He might actually end up changing that, I'm not sure. But if he doesn't, yeah, he'll have a little bit more self-healing coming out from healing elixirs, but he won't have that like full-on kind of immunity from diffuse magic.
Looks like he's sticking with the healing elixirs for now, unless he changes it at the very last second. But here we go. Yeah, normally I'd see like diffuse magic coming out for Balance against like a comp like this, but who knows? He does have Melman by his side. That's something to take note of. But Jeff joining in there, popping AMS right away. Looks like they're jumping right onto... Is this Feloria? This is Feloria. Full Hodge onto Feloria comes out from Kappa, and they're doing a whole bunch of pressure into him, into a silent save of the light, just getting chewed right through into the Fist of Fury. He's gonna force the bubble. But look at Jeff. He has no AMS.
Yeah. Kipo actually using that Avenging Wrath wings to top off Sadism. Zalon's actually using his, or Balance, pardon me, using his diffuse magic, but at the same time, Jeff dipping dangerously while having to use that AMS. But they already forced out the bubble from Feloria. Balance actually still has his Karma. He wants to try to go aggressive on a Feloria right now so he can get full advantage out of that touch of Karma, but Mageddon and Asper are just making it so tough for him.
Yeah, those Cyclones, the defensive Cyclones, they're killer, especially for a comp like this. But Feloria now caught into a stolen polymorph. Full Hodge on the Def. He's going to get out of it. The leg sweep onto Feloria. Jeff's in a little bit of trouble, but he wants to stay offensive. Feloria going to go ahead and use those wings execution sentence on himself, keeping himself okay through this onslaught of damage from Jeff and Balance. But it looks like Balance is just sitting on Asper for now, trying to peel maybe a little bit, interrupting a Cyclone as well. And Feloria is going to be left alone for now, but Jeff hasn't caught a break. AMS, I swear, is being used on cooldown against this team, and looks like Asper's going to push in, use that bark skin as well, and just continues to push the pressure into Jeff. Save of the light procking. Kappa's getting out of that CC into a full Cyclone, and a sacrifice, or I'm sorry, Save by the light is still up for Jeff, but now they're swapping it over onto Balance with that DR bash. There's the beam onto Kappa as well. Balance still has that touch of Karma. Is he going to press it in time? 14% healthier, and he puts it onto Asper, but he gets bopped off. Jeff's in trouble. 15% health. They can still kill him through because of that bop off on the Karma. Denounce is coming in as well. Polymorphs non-stop on the Kappa, and down goes Balance. Game number 1 is going to go to Method Black.
That's what's so dangerous about using Touch of Karma against a team like Mage Moonkin, Holy Pally, so late like that. I would have liked to see Balance use it a little bit earlier because it puts your opponents in kind of a tough position. Whereas, like, if you Touch of Karma at like 10 or 15%, there's no doubt in their mind that they're going to press bop on it. It's not a wasted cooldown. They can stay aggressive. They use it at like 70, 80% HP when your healers CC, then it makes it a little bit more difficult to actually use bop and bubble.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot harder to deal with when it's like that. But super efficient trade-off to just pop that Karma off. I mean, keeps the melee from doing a whole bunch of damage, and not only that, it
yeah, well, that's one of the incredibly frustrating things. It's like I was saying earlier, when they force that bubble so early on from Feloria, that's when you want to go aggressive. You have your Touch of Karma you can use aggressively. They can't bop it off. You can't bubble it off. They have 30 seconds of forbearance, and you can kind of capitalize on that, but it's difficult because if Feloria uses his wings, you're pretty much not going to die. So what you have to do against that, I think, is when Feloria uses his wings, just because of the amount of CC that Asper and Mageddon have, they just need to play safe. I don't think they'll end up landing a kill until deeper into dampening, at least when wings is up.
Dude, you hopped in this call just in time, huh? Because it's like the insight that you have for this composition is so fucking good.
Yeah.
Here we go. The next map is going to be Dalaran Sewers. I'm just going to play the map intro real quick. All right, thank you so for the subscription, man. I really appreciate that. But here we go. We're in Dalaran Sewers here. Donut versus Method Black, and they're both teams tanking with the same compositions. But what do you want to see out of Donut on a map like Dalaran Sewers?
There's a couple different ways you can play it. The scary way is to just rush down Faloria. Like, just go all in, try to make him bubble before you use Touch of Karma. Just trade your cooldowns, and try to kill him. I mean, once his Avenging Wrath is gone, once he has no Trinket and no bubble, he can't heal through DK and Windwalker damage. Unfortunately, Major and Asper are just putting out so much pressure and really punishing them for going aggressive. Kipo. What's his name? Is his name Kipo?
Yeah, it's Kappa, but yeah, might as well be Kipo. But there we go, leg sweep on the Asper, man, and he's taking a bit of pressure. Looks like they're not going to be running right at Floria this time, but Balance already forced to use that defensive cooldown, that magic defensive cooldown. He's getting Hodge. Now they're swapping over to the Jeff and forcing AMS instantly as Kipo is in that Polymorph, but that's forcing AMS, and that's also forcing Diffuse Magic quickly.
Yeah, they weren't able to really accomplish anything. Already AMS is down. Not that big of a cooldown, but Diffuse Magic down as well. Kappa getting CC'd over and over and over on his Avenging Wrath, not able to really top up his teammates, finally casting out some heals. Now he's into the full cycle, and Balance still in a lot of trouble. They're just having the line of sight, and this is not a position you want to be in. I mean, fortunately for them, Asper actually used his Celestial Alignment, so they might be out of the woods, but Balance getting dangerously low, actually getting bopped out of that bash at the same time. Nimble Brew comes up, the offensive Cyclone going out onto Balance right now. Kipo, or Kappa, trying to keep him up with that bubble, but another Cyclone could come in, denying all those incoming heals. Balance finally catches some heals from Kappa, trying to turn around the pressure on the Asper right now. Has to use that Barkskin right away. Floria, though, still has his Avenging Wrath, so right now, Team Method Black is sitting very pretty.
Asper is in a lot of trouble. He's got that offensive karma on him. He dipped him almost so low to a touch of death range. It was really close, but he's going to catch so many heals from Floria's wings. Like you said, Asper's going to be A-okay as long as Floria has those wings up. But, I mean, that's still a lot of defensive cooldowns used. No magic, no karma for Balance. So he is looking a little scared moving forward. Floria getting silenced. He's just going to go ahead and Aura Mastery up. Hand of Sacrifice goes out onto Asper as well. Execution Sentence keeping him full health. Hodge onto Balance, and the full Polymorph onto Kappa is going to force a Trinket Execution Sentence onto Balance for now, and looks like Method Black is just completely offensive in their face, and Donut is forced to sit on these boxes because they just don't have the defensive cooldowns to trade off for the aggression, it seems.
Yeah, it's weird. They can't. Donut is just playing on the same boxes as them. Usually, if you push into the boxes of like a cleave like that, they can at least push you back, but they just have so much damage and so much crowd control. It's very difficult for Team Donut to really go that aggressive. Finally trying to turn that aggression out onto Floria, actually gripping him into a Hodge. Save with the light procs down to 20% HP using that bubble. Just going to trade off that bubble. Doesn't have his Avenging Wrath. It's exactly what he needed to do. If he used Bop, it would have been really scary. Actually, Jeff could have gotten rid of that Majorden down to around 50% HP as well, but I like what they did. They seem to keep doing that over and over, rinse and repeat onto Floria, slowly getting his cooldowns, play very defensive, trade out their defensive cooldowns, and I think them working kill on Floria is probably the best thing they can do.
Yeah, I mean, they got a lot of defensive, but here we go. Balance taking a whole bunch of pressure. Diffuse Magic being forced by Kappa, sitting in that half polymorph. Wings Execution Sentence on the Balance is going to top him off right now, and they're pushing back Majorden and Asper. Look at the amount of damage they put out on the Majorden, forcing that save by the light. There's the paralysis on the Floria, and Balance is right on top of Majorden. He wants to get aggressive here as the silence lands, and Asper in the background is taking a whole bunch of damage as well. He gets the Cyclone out onto Balance. Save by the light's going to proc onto both Majorden and Asper from the onslaught of Donut right there. But here we go. Floria still no Trinket, Stone Bubble available, still very vulnerable to a swap to, but with the wings up, he probably doesn't want to do that just yet, and it looks like they're going to be pushing in here. Balance and Jeff sitting behind the pillar for now. I love how Jeff is constantly trying to steal stuff, and he steals a clone and sends it right back at Asper, but Floria is the kill target. Leg sweep goes out. He's going to bop himself.
He's got a ton of trouble. Actually gets hodged on his bop right there, so sitting that stun well, blessing protections up. Jeff not able to get it up though, spamming out those icy touches. Floria actually getting incredibly lucky there. The bop lasts the entire time, but I don't think it's going to be enough. He's trying desperately to get away. Asper and Majorden spamming out as much crowd control as possible. Floria casting those flash of lights over and over, but no Avenging Wrath in sight. Still able to get away, top himself off. That was a very close call on Floria. I feel bad for Jeff not able to get off that bop. It actually lasted the entire duration. Now Jeff actually getting a little bit low. He's in that Frost presence right now, so he's going to be taking a little bit more damage, but they actually forced Majiden into a nice block as well.
That's both his blocks already. It seems like Donut has caught their stride. They're forcing a whole bunch of defensive cooldowns with this setup that they're doing on Floria. That pressure on the Paladin not only is making it hard for him to heal himself, but his whole team. Balance just going to head and port back. He knows that he doesn't have the momentum he used to, but he has the Karma still available to him at any moment. Jeff constantly just trying to steal something special from these guys. He has something. I'm curious to what it is that he has. He had a Cyclone. He's going to throw it onto Asper, and these guys are going to move in onto Majiden. Majiden, without any blocks, is scared. He's going to go ahead and peel back. Kappa, though, is going to go ahead and reposition himself onto the next pillar. Full Hodge goes out onto Floria, and Majiden is constantly just trying to get away from these guys without a block. He just doesn't want them to connect ever. But here we go. Floria has that wings up, but he gets dripped out of line of sight. Floria is going to go ahead and get that Hodge off regardless. Kappa into that full Cyclone. He has that trinket available to him, but can he use it yet? But it looks like he's going to stabilize for now. The Polymorph goes out onto Balance. The offensive Cyclone's onto Jeff. He's at 51% health here. Full Polymorph is going to have to be bubbled by Kappa as Jeff is dipping lower and lower.
Yeah, is he going to be able to top him off with that bubble, but just another cooldown force? Kappa actually still has his trinket available if he needs it. Jeff has that AMS coming up in 5 seconds. Balance actually has almost all his defensive cooldowns left besides his trinket. So right now, Donut sitting very, very pretty. It's going to be a little scary because Kappa doesn't have his Avenging Wrath up for a little bit. But right now, Asper and Majiden finally in a position where they just have to play very, very defensively. This is exactly what Donut wants. And Donut's actually just going to decide to turtle up a little bit. They don't want to push in. They don't want to be aggressive. Floria's going to be able to drink to full because of that. Kappa probably wants to actually sit down for a drink too. Going into dampening, we are at around 5% right now. Kappa wants to get some mana back as much as he can during this moment because he's probably not going to have an opportunity to drink later on in the game.
No, not at all. Especially with all this like cross CC and stuff like that. But here we go. Looks like they're jumping right back on the Asper. They gripped, stunned him. Now he's getting Fist of Fury. He doesn't have a trinket for this, and Floria is having a hard time keeping him up. He gets silenced, actually, but not on cast, and that's going to force Floria's bubble, and it looks like a defensive Solar Beam. Diffuse Magic is going to be used by Balance. A very small price to pay for all of the defenses they just got out of their opposing team, but Dampening is getting a bit further and further. Kappa did regain quite a bit of mana, and Donut is starting to gain a bit of a lead, but Majiden now has a block available to him, and Floria has a trinket available to them, but that's not a whole lot when you're looking at DK, Windwalker, Burst. I love to see these guys set up.
Yeah. Actually, Celestial Alignment is up for Asper, so they do have that major offensive cooldown when they need it. Balance still doesn't have his trinket or Nimble for another like 20 seconds, so if they can capitalize on that, get a Hodge, it'll surely be Kappa's trinket. But Floria in a lot of trouble using his Divine Shield, trying to get away, or sorry, his Divine Protection, trying to get away. Get caught into a Hodge, but it looks like he's going to be able to just sprint away to the other side of the map, top off. Now they're turning around the pressure onto Balance. Doesn't have a trinket up for another 3 seconds. This is dangerous for Balance at the moment. Save with the light proccing on him as well, going to throw out his Touch of Karma onto Asper. Looks like Floria is deciding not to bob it. Now they are switching out onto Floria as well with the Strangulate onto him. He is far away though. Balance and Jeff having a hard time connecting onto him. Asper still taking a little bit of damage. There it is. Balance Flying Serpent kicks in. The full leg sweep onto Floria. Floria could be in a lot of trouble here. Avenging Wrath being popped by him. We are 15% into Dampening though, so he might have to actually get some cast off, and this Wings might not be as safe as he thinks.
No, not at all. Balancing that Hodge, though, he's going to get out of that very, very quickly. Kappa just trinketed into the Deep Freeze, but he's in an orb. He can't get CC'd up yet. That's going to force Balance to use that Diffuse Magic for now. But Floria, all he has left is a trinket and a bop moving forward, and I love these swaps that they go on to him, though. Jeff and Balance going to pull ahead and pull back, sit behind these boxes once again. But both of these teams just trading up. There's the grip onto Majiden. Majiden going to go ahead and trinket out of that and peel away, it would seem. Asper constantly using those Cyclones to try to peel for his team, but Jeff is stealing them one by one. Balance still doesn't have a Touch of Karma or Diffuse Magic, but he's going to force Majiden to get into that Ice Block regardless. Still on Hypothermia and without any blocks left. Majiden's a little scared at this point, but Balance is just going to pull back. He's going to play safe for now as Kappa is put into that Polymorph. Black Jeff is going to go ahead and intervene with him back to these boxes, and Method Black and Donut, they're kind of at a stalemate, but as I say that, the Solar Beam goes out, but Kappa just walks right out of it, but Jeff still at 50% health here, could just randomly go down to the burst that this Mage Boomkin is so known for. But look at Balance! Balance dipping down to 27% health here. Kappa forced to use his wings to keep him offensive. Asper pushing in. The silence onto Floria. Asper may have overextended. Saved by the Light has procced. He's desperately trying to get away in that cat form. Floria put into paralysis. And can you kite a Windwalker Monk? Apparently you can if you're Asper.
Yeah, he's able to get away. I like that though. Asper trinketed a leg sweep. Maybe didn't need to a little bit earlier on. They're able to capitalize with the death grip. They've gotten Barkskin out of the way, so now Asper is actually a very viable kill target. Here it is again. Grip into a Hodge on Asper. This could be big trouble for Asper. Down to 20% HP. He's trying to get away. The Bop comes out, but he's at 11% HP right now. It gets dispelled by Jeff. They're gonna just run him down. Flory actually caught into a full in cap. Has to bubble it, but he doesn't have enough heals to actually keep Asper up. And Balance and Jeff playing very patiently there, capitalizing on Asper being a little bit over-aggressive. And, yeah, they're able to just kill him. That was amazing.
It was amazing. Let me turn this all the way down.
That was amazing.
That was amazing. What are you looking at? Are you waiting for something? Something amazing, I guess.
Is that tied up 1-1?
It is tied up 1-1.
Oh, man.
Oh my goodness. That's actually crazy. I love that they found the strat that works and then they executed it so well. Good for them. Good for Donut. These guys are definitely here showing that compositions like cleaves like this take a whole bunch of strategy, and it pays off, man.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, a lot of people will look at that match and be like, wow, Donut played so lame. Like, they just sat behind the box. But, like, yeah, you can't really do too much if you're playing open against something like a Moonkin and a Paladin. They just dictate the game entirely, and when they can just free cast. So you're sort of left in a position where you have no choice but to just turtle and be very passive with your cooldowns and kind of wait and capitalize on mistakes that your opponent makes, because you're just, if you're in the open, you're gonna lose. Like,
that being said, we were at Dollar and Sewers. We were in the sewers, and this time around we're going to Tolvaron Arena, much more large and open map. Can they do the same strat on a map like that?
They can try, but it's not gonna work quite as well. I mean,
yeah.
It's going to be a lot easier for, like, Asper, for example, if they grip him in. As soon as he gets out of the stun, he can just displace away, and he's gone. Like, you can just displace and power shift and gets that sprint, and he's just on the other side of the map.
He's gone.
And we'll have Guardian, Mageddon, spam snaring, and pawing everything.
Yeah, speaking of which, I love how Jeff is just giving Asper a hell of a time to get those defensive clones off. He knows, like, when they're in there, Asper's going to be trying to clone. He's going to be trying to stop their momentum. And so I just see those non-stop attempts to steal those Cyclones, and Asper has to, like, get around that, and it delays him so much to be able to peel for his team. It's just, like, those small things like that really do, like, show, like, it's the high caliber of a team that we're watching right now is where you see small things like that. But here we go. It's game number 3 between Donut and Method Black in this best of 5 series, and both these teams are on the ropes to being eliminated here in GPL number 1. They have to win the series. It is the lower bracket, and here we go.
Is this the best of 3 or best of 5? Sorry.
5. It's best of 5.
Yeah. I'm sorry I'm asking all these questions. I'm sure everyone knows about me, but
no, it's absolutely
just got back into Canada.
Oh, it looks like both teams seem to be waiting for one another, and I don't think it's because someone DC'd. I think it's because neither team wants to give up their position.
It's a very frustrating position to be in. When you're Asper and Mageddon, you want your opponents to come in the open because that's your advantage. At the same time, Mageddon's going to go in. Actually gets grip, leg swept. He's going to be able to get away quite easily with just a blink. But going aggressive, actually, popping that Icy Veins right away. They want to turn around the pressure. Fist of Fury, though, going out on a Mageddon and not able to fully capitalize on those Icy Veins. It's actually just going to get dispelled. So kind of a wasted cooldown completely. Kappa caught into a full polymorph at the moment. Balance having to use his Nimble as well as his Diffuse magic to get out of that Fist of Justice. Now he needs to kite. He needs to get away. He's no longer protected by that cooldown. He's getting a little bit low. Zen Meditation coming out as well as the Sable of Light proc. Kappa going to use that Avenging Wrath, though, and top him off immediately. Yeah,
Hodge goes out on the floor, and Mageddon still the kill target from start to finish, it would seem here. No blocks being used just yet, but man, he is taking so much damage. Balance caught into another Cyclone as Kappa has his wings up. It should be A-okay for now, but he's going to go ahead and peel back and get back to that pillar. Celestial Alignment coming out for Asper. He wants to get offensive, and Kappa's instantly just going to go ahead and
Balance actually in a lot of trouble. Kappa having to bubble and actually dispel him out of that. It still has his Touch of Karma if he needs it available. He got dangerously low right there. Still no Sable of the Light for a little bit longer. The sack going out onto Balance, but it gets dispelled immediately by Mageddon. And Asper actually getting Touch of Karma by Balance is going to be completely fine for now. Floria deciding not to bop that off. Asper getting a little low, having to use his Barkskin. So now Asper in a position where he has no Trinket, no Barkskin. They were able to get some cooldowns out of Balance and Kappa, but at the expense of the Celestial Alignment coming out of Asper. Now Team Donut is in a position where they can really capitalize on Asper not having those defensive cooldowns, just like they did last game.
Yeah, they really can. Floria is still sitting pretty with so many defensive cooldowns, and Donut is playing the game, a very patient game, and it's exactly what they need to do. There we go. The double Fist of Fury comes out. I think it was actually just onto Asper. Asper without Barkskin or anything just yet. Maybe it's potentially going to take a lot of damage. Full Hodge goes out onto Floria from Kappa in the background there into a paralysis from balance, but Major then just going into defensive peel mode and just going to go ahead and start polymorph into a Cyclone up onto balance at this point. Kappa still has that trinket available to him, but how far can that actually get him? I love Jeff constantly just trying to steal these polymorphs, constantly trying to steal these Cyclones to use them as an advantage, and he's using them offensively and defensively. But there's the Hodge on the balance. Kappa put into that solar beam outside of his trinket. Save by the Light is proccing. No karma available to him, but Diffuse Magic looks like it's going to save him for now, but for how much longer?
Yeah, actually, Kappa getting cloned up there. Balance needs to run. He needs to get away. Down to 11% HP. It's not going to be enough. Throws out that Nimble. Oh, man, the Touch of Karma was coming up in 3 seconds. There was no bops available for that, so if he got that on Asper, he would have actually lived. So that was very, very close. That was unfortunate. Kappa actually getting cloned up on his Avenging Wrath, so Balance, I'm sure, thought he was going to get a big heal, expecting it after that Diffuse Magic, and then, unfortunately, his healer was still CC'd, and he went down.
You know, I'm curious to see how big of a map plays in this compositions right now. I mean, on Dalaran Sewers, it seemed a lot easier for these guys to go in line of sight and get out of harm's way. But that was Tolvaron Arena was Method Black's map choice. So now with Donut,
the thing is, like on a map like that, the last one we just saw, Tolvaron, even though they're playing a pillar the whole time, there's still plenty of room for Asper and Majid and Floria to maneuver around and get the crowd control and the damage out they need. Whereas, like, when the really small maps like Dalaran, it's really hard. So, what maps have actually been played? We've seen Nagran, we've seen Tolvaron, and we've seen Dalaran Sewers.
That's all the 3 maps, yeah.
I think, although you would assume a small map like Ruins of Lordran might be advantageous for the cleave, I don't think it actually is, because there's not too many places for Balance to run and hide when he needs to. And they're kind of just stuck at that tomb, and there's not too much line of sight there.
So you're thinking Blade's Edge, maybe? Blade's Edge Arena still available with that port?
Blade's Edge is... honestly, if I was them, I'd go to something like Tiger's Peak. Because, I mean, Blade's Edge is nice because you have the Z-axis port, but at the same time, your healer has to know where to line of sight. Like, against Moonkin Mage or against, like, Mage Warlock, that's... Blade's Edge Arena is a Paladin's nightmare.
Speaking
so I'd be very surprised if they went there.
I believe their nightmare has become a reality.
So they're actually choosing Blade's Edge
Arena, Yep, they're choosing Blade's Edge Arena, and they're going to hop right into it. Maybe the Z-axis will maybe give them an advantage.
I don't see it. Maybe they know something I don't, but I feel like this is going to be pure hell for Kappa. He's just going to get crowd controlled the whole game. He's not going to have, unless they decide to play on the bottom the entire game and play very safe down there. It's going to be very difficult.
Oh, that's something to think about. Maybe they'll play on the bottom. But here we go, guys. We are in Blade's Edge Arena. Currently, it's Donut 1-2 against Method Black. Method Black's just 1 game away from taking the whole series. Can Donut bring it back with 2 games in a row? We're about to find out here. This is their map choice. This is Blade's Edge Arena. They're going to try to use that Z-axis port to have Balance survive a little bit longer, but is it going to be enough, or is it's just going to be too open for Kappa to just get a heal off? I don't know. I'm curious to see. I mean, you see Method Black constantly pushing in there, trying to get those interrupts and working with those interrupts, almost as if it's like part of their CC chain. But 9 seconds until these gates.
It's going to be very important for Donut in these games to make sure they're kind of like preemptively using cooldowns. Like, oh, Kappa's CC'd, I have to immediately use Diffuse, I have to immediately use Touch of Karma, or Kappa has to immediately Trinket or immediately Bubble. It's really scary to just sit and try to wait. You end up having to overuse cooldowns, which really sucks. Flory actually getting pushed into right away, caught into that Hodge, into the Strangulate, deciding not to use anything. The DR Light Sweep coming out, Stable Light's going to proc immediately, and that's just going to be the bubble. Floria deciding, using the bubble, using the Stable Light, not going to use anything else, and going to basically trade that cooldown for the early onslaught of Balance and Jeff.
Yeah, Majid taking a bit of pressure too. At the same time, Touch of Karma onto Floria. At the same time, Asper is using that Celestial alignment, and it looks like Floria could be in a lot of trouble here. Execution Sentence as well as the wings being used by Floria, and ooh, the knockoff onto Balance. But he's just going to port right back up, and Floria still could be in a bit of trouble. The full Hodge does end up landing. I'm not sure if he got locked out. It doesn't seem like he should be okay for now, but the Fist of Fury coming out for Balance. He's going to bop out of it, but that's bop, bubble, wings, everything for Floria. He's got one bop to go.
This is really scary for Floria. If he doesn't get some healing on himself with this Avenging Wrath, he has nothing left. Right now, Aspen Magen trying to turn around the pressure, trying to get out the CC they need. Balance actually getting fully cycled now. Floria still trying to do his best to kite, to get away, deciding to jump off, throwing out those flashes of light on himself. But now, like you said, in position, no Avenging Wrath, no Trinket, no Bubble. And this could just be the game. The Hodge coming out onto Floria. This is so scary for him. Stab of the Light proc, and they're just going to shred through it immediately. The DR Lang Sweep into a full Strangulate. And I guess... Balance, Jeff and Kappa decided with the rushdown strat, really Floria has nowhere to go. And it's not going to be about, even if Kappa gets CC, they're able to just rush down Floria, he can't get away, and they're able to just kill him with an onslaught.
I love it. I mean, you see that Touch of Karma coming out for Balance right as soon as Asper uses that Celestial alignment, and like he's like, oh, okay, so then I kill Jeff then. Or I mean, what do you do with that? Because you can't just go ahead and kill your own Holy Paladin with that Touch of Karma up. And there, down goes Floria. Never caught a break on Blade's Edge Arena, but that being said, it is now... Method Black's map choice, and it's the very last game of the series, but it is a best of 5, so the amount of map choices that actually are left are pretty limited. I mean, he has Ruins of Orderon left at this point, and what's the next one? I think it's Tiger's Peak or Ruins of Orderon are the only 2 maps that Method Black have left. Where do you think this Mage Moonkin's gonna go? I
think they're gonna go to Ruins of Orderon. I think it's pretty safe for Floria. Yeah, although it's a little scary for him to get trained down. I think he could have maybe rotated his cooldowns a little better. He did a pretty good job, but I think it's kind of wasteful if you're gonna end up bubbling anyways. Like if you see Balance use a 10 stack and his on use Trinket, and Jeff using Pillar and his on use Trinket, and they've really committed a lot to that attack. I would bubble it a little bit earlier on, so your Save by the Light doesn't proc, and you have that a little bit later on.
Yeah, almost treat that
You're gonna bubble anyways.
An ability. Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a big cooldown, so. I think it's important to not overlap Bubble and the Save by the Light proc, especially when you're getting rushed down. It's really, really important.
All right, everybody, the last game of the series. This is gonna be it for either team. It is Tiger's Peak. I'll see you in there in just a minute.
You're welcome.
All right, everybody, welcome to Tiger's Peak. It's Donut versus Method Black, Mage, Boomkin, Holy Paladin versus the Windwalker Dream, Balance, Jeff, and Kappa. 11 seconds till these gates
I just saw those new intro graphics.
Do you like them?
Those look nice, man. Those look real nice.
Shout out to my boy Synapse. Yeah, Synapse
yeah.
actually made them for me. They're really nice. I'm really excited about them. Here we go. Melman by Balance's side. Looks like, oh, the deep polymorph lands on the Kappa right away. Looks like Balance is going to be the kill target. He's going to line of sight for now. Surging, missing himself. He's not going to go out. Not while his Paladin's healing, or while his Paladin's CC'd. Like, why would he? There's the sap going out onto Aspirin. It looks like they want Floria again, but the Hodge onto Balance preemptively from Floria. But now Floria is taking all the pressure. He's using that wall. Save of the Light is proccing. He's going to Trinket, Execution Sentence, and Wings instead of bubbling this time around.
He's going to rotate his defensive cooldowns a little bit differently. I don't think Balance actually, or Jeff used to Strangulate there. No, he didn't. So still has Strangulate available. Floria not going to have a Trinket, of course. Touch of Karma going out onto Asper right away. It looks like Floria is not going to bop that, so Balance should be fine for now. But Kappa actually not able to get out any healing. Doesn't have his Avenging Wrath. It's going to be hard for him to actually top off Balance and Jeff here. They're going to have to play very safe, get to line of sight, because Kappa still has to deal with Counterspell. Asper actually getting sapped up there as well. Balance and Jeff trying to play a little bit safe, but it looks like they are trying to push in onto Floria. Balance pushing in, getting hodged up by Floria. Beautiful play by Floria. Floria just going to run away, catching Balance in that hodge behind the pillar. Balance trying to do everything he can using that Zen meditation. Still has his fortifying brew if he needs it, but Kappa caught into the full polymorph, actually having to bubble too. So a little bit of over-aggression coming out from Balance, who's now caught into a full Cyclone. Beautiful plays by Floria, who also is taking a little bit of damage from the hodge of Kappa. Floria down to around 40% HP. The Strangulate coming out. Aura Mastery, though, in response by Floria. Able to get out those casts. Going to top himself off. And that's the trade he's looking for. Wants to use that Aura Mastery on the Strangulate. And he's able to top himself off with that.
Yeah, it's looking great for Flory. I mean, he's rotating through his defense cooldowns way differently. And I think a lot of that has to do with Method Black just CCing the heck out of Balance or Jeff when it comes to like the landing to Hodges and stuff like that. But Balance still the kill target, it seems, for Method Black, and Flory constantly getting those denounces into him. GCD Major trying to push in. He's gonna get sapped up as Balance continues the line of sight, waiting for Kappa to get out of CC. But he's in a full polymorph in the middle of the map, and Flory and Asper are pushing in. Full Hodge goes out onto Balance. Karma in just 3 more seconds, but can he get it off in time? A half polymorph goes out onto Kipo, and it looks like he's still not using his Touch of Karma just yet. Ooh, he caught a big execution sentence from his Holy Paladin, preventing him from using Karma just yet.
And Majordan and Flory actually caught into a leg sweep at the moment. Flory caught into the DR Hodge. He does have his bubble as well as Bop and Trinket if he needs it. Strangulate coming out, using the bubble. Save of the Light proccing as well. Not as bad as in the opener, so it's not that big of a deal that those overlap there. Still has his trinket, still has 2 bops, Avenging Wrath up. Now Balance actually trying to go aggressive on the Floria. He has Forbearance, so he's not able to bop off that Touch of Karma that Balance used onto him. Now Balance is going to be fine. Floria taking a little bit more damage. They want to force more out of Floria. They want to get his Avenging Wrath. Floria, though, doing an excellent job cutting. Doesn't have to use that Avenging Wrath, only using the bubble and the Sable Light proc. And they got a tremendous amount of defensive cooldowns out of Balance, so he actually has nothing left.
Yeah, the name of the game is trading up those defensive cooldowns for offensive ones, and it looks like Floria might be in a bit of trouble. He's going to get a bop, he's going to get an execution sentence, still holding on to his trinket, still holding on to his wings, being super frugal this game. Seems like he's rotating through his defensive cooldowns quite well at this point. Full polymorph lands on the Kappa, but the Hand of Sacrifice on the Balance is just waiting to break him out of it. Full Hodge on the Balance and half polymorph onto Kipo. Balance taking a whole bunch of pressure, 45 more seconds until Karma comes back. Diffuse Magic is going to be used. The Deep Freeze into Solar Beam onto Kappa is going to force a Aura Mastery as well. And now Asper's the one on the back foot, forced to use that Barkskin Hodge onto Floria as well. And Balance is just going to get cloned up as Asper sees that the momentum's going in their favor. Floria just taking a whole bunch of pressure from from Balance in Jeff. He's going to go ahead and use those wings. Another defensive cooldown used, but he's at full health for now.
That was actually beautiful, able to top himself off before the Strangulate actually came out, so really not able to accomplish too much with Strangulate. Balance dangerously low, though, down to 20% HP. Kappa getting out of that polymorph into immediate re-polymorph by Majordan. Beautiful job by Majordan there, polymorphing the trinket of Kappa. He knew he had to trinket in that situation. Balance, once again, having Touch of Karma up in 5 seconds or so when he died, so just so close on that defensive cooldown, but Majordan, Floria, and Asper are able to capitalize on that, and they're going to take the series 3-2.
They are. I mean, that is such a close game. You know it's got to be frustrating for Balance to not be able to press that Touch of Karma button when it's so close off a cooldown. But a great game's played by both of these teams. But Method Black is going to come out on top, and Donut is going to be eliminated in the lower bracket. I hope to see these guys come and play it again because they're such talented players, and they always are doing so well here at GCD TV. But that being said, Method Black is going to continue on to face Donut here in the, or I'm sorry, not Donut, Cloud9 in the finals. So that is your finals. Method Black versus Cloud9, everybody. Super hyped up to see this. And with Gorecki, the addition to Cloud9's roster, I am so excited to see what composition these guys are going to be playing.